Lesson 19. Finding the Titanic. The Titanic's rediscovery is a fascinating chapter in its history. After the ship sank in 1912, its exact location remained unknown for over 70 years. However, the Titanic was eventually found in 1985 by a joint American-French expedition led by Dr. Robert Ballard. The search for the Titanic began in the 1970s, when several expeditions were launched to locate the wreck. One of the early attempts was led by Dr. Robert Ballard, a deep-sea explorer and oceanographer. Ballard proposed a new search strategy using cutting-edge technology, which attracted the attention of various organisations, including the US Navy and the French National Oceanographic Agency. In 1985, Ballard and his team embarked on an expedition to find the Titanic. They utilised a deep-sea submersible called the Alvin and a remote-controlled robotic vehicle called the Argo, equipped with sonar and video cameras. After several weeks of searching, on September 1st, 1985, the team located the wreck of the Titanic at a depth of approximately 12,500 feet in the North Atlantic Ocean. Over the years, numerous expeditions have been conducted to explore and document the Titanic wreck. These expeditions have utilised advanced technologies such as remote-operated vehicles and high-resolution imaging to capture detailed images and gather scientific data. The wreck has extensively mapped and various artefacts have been recovered for preservation and exhibition. The rediscovery of the Titanic has provided valuable insights into the ship's condition, the impact of the iceberg collision, and the subsequent sinking. It also contributed to a better understanding of the deep-sea ecosystems and the processes of shipwreck preservation. The exploration of the Titanic has aided in the preservation of its history and has allowed for further research on disaster and its aftermath. The Titanic wreck is considered a maritime heritage site, and efforts have been made to protect and preserve its remains. The wreck is subject to international agreements and legal frameworks such as the UNESCO Convention on Protection of Underwater Cultural Heritage. These regulations aim to ensure that the site is respected and preserved for future generations. The rediscovery of the Titanic has had a profound impact on our understanding of the ship's fate and has allowed for the exploration and documentation of one of the most significant maritime disasters in history. The ongoing study and preservation of the wreck continue to contribute to our knowledge of the Titanic and its historical significance. Remains ethics. The ethical debate surrounding the removal of items from the Titanic primarily revolves around the preservation of the wreck as a historical and cultural site and the responsible handling of artefacts recovered from the ship. The Titanic is widely regarded as a significant historical and cultural site, as the final resting place of over 1,500 individuals. It holds immense importance as a memorial to those who lost their lives in the tragedy. Some argue that removing artefacts from the wreck diminishes its integrity and disrupts solemnity of the site. Many believe that disturbing the wreckage and retrieving items from the Titanic is a violation of the resting place of those who perished. It's seen as a breach of the dignity and respect owed to the victims and their families. The Titanic wreck is subject to natural decay and degradation over time. Some argue that removing artefacts from the wreck further accelerates the deterioration of the site and compromises its historical value. Leaving the wreck undisturbed allows researchers to study the ship in its original context and gain a deeper understanding of the disaster. Those in favour of artefact recovery argue that it can contribute to the preservation and public understanding of the Titanic. Recovered artefacts can be studied, conserved, and exhibited in museums, allowing people to learn more about the ship's history and experiences of those on board. However, it is crucial that artefact recovery is conducted responsibly and in accordance with ethical guidelines to ensure the integrity of the wreck is maintained. The ethical debate surrounding the removal of the items from the Titanic is complex and multifaceted. It involves considerations of historical preservation, respect for the deceased, responsible artefact recovery, and adherence to legal and regulatory frameworks. Ultimately, striking a balance between these various perspectives is crucial to ensure the preservation and respectful treatment of the Titanic wreck and its artefacts. Titanic degradation. The Titanic wreck is subject to natural degradation due to a combination of biological, chemical, and physical processes. The Titanic wreck is located in the North Atlantic Ocean, where the water is cold and contains high level of dissolved oxygen. This creates an ideal environment for corrosion, especially on metal structures. Over time, the iron and steel components of the ship undergo a process called oxidation, leading to the formation of rust and gradual deterioration of the wreck. The ocean is home to various organisms including bacteria, fungi, and marine organisms. They can colonise and feed on the organic materials present in the wreck. These organisms contribute to the degradation process by breaking down the organic matter and accelerating the decay of the ship's wooden structures. The Titanic wreck is exposed to strong ocean currents and tides, which can exert physical stress on the remains of the ship. The constant movement of water can cause the disintegration and scattering of smaller debris, further contributing to the degradation of the wreck. Salt water is highly corrosive to metals. The Titanic wreck is constantly exposed to seawater, which contains salts that can accelerate the corrosion process. Salt water can penetrate the weakened areas of the hull and other structures, causing further damage. The structural integrity of the Titanic wreck has been compromised over time, weakened by corrosion and other degradation processes. Certain sections of the wreck may collapse or experience structural failures. This can lead to disintegration and scattering of debris, making it more challenging to study and preserve the wreck. Natural events such as storms, underwater landslides, and seismic activity can impact the Titanic wreck. These forces cause physical damage to the remains of the ship. It's important to note that despite the ongoing degradation, the Titanic wreck remains a valuable historical and cultural site. Efforts are made to study and document the wreck before it succumbs to natural processes. These efforts include the use of advanced imaging technologies, exploration missions, and the establishment of legal frameworks to protect and preserve the wreck.